Today we are going to go over probability of disjoint and overlapping events. When we talk about disjoint or we talk about overlapping events, we can really visualize that using Venn diagrams. Here's a Venn diagram where we have things that overlap. This would be overlapping events. And this particular Venn diagram, the shaded part would be the union of A and B, or we might say A or B. This one here is showing the intersection of A and B, the part that they have in common. Remember, the union symbol looks like a U, the intersection symbol kind of looks like the N. And then we have a disjoint event right here. A disjoint would be events that have nothing in common. They don't have any outcomes whatsoever that are in common. So you can see some vocabulary that is highlighted. The union or intersection of two events is called a compound event. So this would be having more than one event happen. And then the two events are overlapping when they have one or more outcomes in common, like these two events right here. And then the two events are disjoint, or also called mutually exclusive, if we have the third situation where they have no outcomes in common. So here's a how you'd find the probability of compound events. I'm really just going to use the first one, because if I have to think about two separate formulas that are like similar, sometimes they get confused. The first one works for everything, and I'll show you with our first example how the first one works for everything. But the first example says if we want to find the probability of A or B, we take the probability of A and we add the probability of B, and then we subtract off the probability of any outcomes that they have in common. This one says if they are disjoint, which means they have nothing in common already, then you would just do A plus B, or the probability of A plus probability of B. This would mean that you would subtract nothing from them. So the probability that they have anything in common would be 0. These are the exact same formula. All right, example 1 says, find the probability of disjoint events. A card is randomly selected from a standard deck of 52 playing cards. What is the probability that it is a 10 or that we have a face card? So this is going to be my A event, and this is going to be my B event. And we want to find the probability of A or B. That's what we're trying to find. So we're going to use the formula. Okay, my video keeps blacking out for a second, and I don't know what's going on, so I apologize for that. We're going to do the formula probability of A plus the probability of B, and then we're going to subtract off the probability of A and B. And I'm going to use words with that too. So probability that we would draw a 10. Well, there are 4 out of 52 10s in one standard deck. The probability that we would draw a face card would be 12 out of 52. Now I'm going to subtract off the probability that we would draw a 10 that is also a face card. Well, the face cards are not 10s. 10s are not face cards. So there is absolutely 0 probability of that happening. So I subtract off the overlap. There isn't overlap. So now we add these together and we get 16 over 52, which reduces to 4 over 13. Type that in the calculator, and I've already done the calculating to make this video a little bit shorter. And I get approximately 0.308, or if we're thinking percent-wise, we would think 30.8%. Example 2. A card is randomly selected from a standard deck of 52 playing cards. What is the probability that it is a face card or a spade? So we're going to say face card is the A and spade is the B. And we want to find the probability that it is A or B.